"Drop your keys and leave," my father ordered during our Sunday meal. "This home is now the family's property." My mother gave a nod of approval. I set the keys on the table and slipped out without a word. The next day, when the mortgage lender contacted them about the $780,000 transaction, I realized inviting my parents to live nearby was a terrible mistake. They'd always been domineering, the type to charm neighbors while scolding you for the smallest things. Like breathing too heavily, I'd hoped, perhaps naively, that my success and independence would finally earn their respect. At 26, I purchased my house, a modest 3-bedroom with tall ceilings and a porch that glowed in the morning light. It wasn't lavish, but it was mine, earned through grueling hours in real estate finance. I'd sacrificed sleep, friendships, and peace of mind to afford the down payment, paying off most of the mortgage early. Every fixture, every improvement, every corner of that home was funded by my efforts. When my parents retired and spoke of simplifying their lives, I offered to help. I covered their relocation costs and let them stay with me temporarily while they settled. Initially, they seemed appreciative. My mom cooked more, my dad tinkered with small repairs, and for a brief moment, it felt like we were a family again. That warmth faded at one Sunday dinner. It began subtly. My mother mentioned reorganizing the guest room for long-term comfort. My father shared how he'd revised my yard maintenance plan. I clenched my jaw but stayed silent. Then mid-meal, my father put down his fork, stared at me, and said coolly, "Drop your keys and leave. This home belongs to the family now." I froze, chuckling, thinking it was a prank. He didn't waver. "We've decided," he said. "You're young, single, no children. You'll recover. This house is too large for someone like you. It should stay with the family." My mother nodded as if it were perfectly reasonable. I was stunned. "Dad, this is my house," I said. "I bought it. I pay for it. What are you talking about?" He dismissed me with a wave. "We saw the refinance documents on your desk. The family trust is named in them. That makes this our property." My heart sank. Months earlier, I'd refinanced the mortgage for better terms. As part of future planning, I'd explored creating a trust in my name for legal and tax benefits. My father, always prying, must have found the papers and misinterpreted them to claim ownership. "That's not how trusts work," I said, struggling to stay composed. "You have no legal claim to this house." My mother, calmly sipping her tea, added, "Dear, don't complicate things. Just hand over the keys and we'll handle everything." Rage surged within me, but I held a secret they didn't know. The $780,000 transaction a week earlier, I'd closed a major deal at work, earning a hefty commission. The funds were deposited into a secure account used solely for significant investments, like property purchases. I hadn't told anyone. The money was intended for a rental property in a thriving market out of state, safely tucked away where they couldn't touch it. I said nothing that night. Instead, I reached into my bag, placed the keys on the table, and stood. My pulse raced, but I refused to let them see my anger. I left with just my phone and wallet. They didn't stop me. That night, I checked into a hotel and contacted my attorney. By morning, my strategy was underway. The real chaos began the next day when the mortgage lender called my parents. My father had tried to reach out, claiming he was now in charge of the family trust and wanted to alter the mortgage terms. He was swiftly denied. He wasn't on the mortgage and had no legal standing. Then came my mother's furious voicemail, demanding to know why the house was suddenly under a legal hold. In the early hours, I'd worked with my lawyer to place a legal block on any transfer, sale, or occupancy changes to the property. My parents were, in effect, trespassers, but I didn't stop there. I filed for their formal eviction. Their status as my parents was irrelevant. The house was mine in every legal and financial sense. The trust they thought gave them rights. It was solely in my name. They had no claim. The eviction notice was delivered 3 days later. When they called from a blocked number, my father's voice was a mix of rage and shock. "How could you do this to your own family?" he shouted. I paused, then replied evenly, "How could you try to take your daughters home and expect no consequences?" I hung up. But the saga wasn't over. While occupying my house, they'd rummaged through my files, including details about the $780,000 transfer. They didn't grasp the full picture but knew there was money and wanted it. Unbeknownst to them, those funds were already committed to a duplex purchase out of state for an Airbnb venture. My lawyer had ensured the transaction was ironclad, untouchable even if someone challenged it. Still, they tried. They filed a false claim with my bank, accusing me of financial elder abuse, claiming I'd tricked them into transferring their money to me. The bank dismissed it. Every cent was traceable to my commission, fully documented. Their claim collapsed, exposing their desperation. The betrayal stung deeply. I hadn't expected gratitude, but I never imagined my parents would try to dismantle my life. By the time they were forced to leave, they'd damaged the house, torn curtains, cracked tiles, and spray-painted words like betrayer on the garage walls. The police intervened, and a restraining order was issued. I stood in the empty living room the day after they left. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, but the warmth was gone. The house felt hollow. Still, I wasn't defeated. I had my home, my investments, and the truth. But I couldn't shake the question, how much further would they go? When family turns on you over money, there's no depth they won't sink to. I didn't expect calm after their departure. I prepared for battle. The physical damage, vandalized walls, broken fixtures, wasn't just destruction, it was a message. Words like betrayer, selfish, crook were scrawled in red paint, a final act of spite. It took weeks and a renovation crew to erase the marks, fix the damage, and clear the air of their resentment. The real fight, though, wasn't about repairs. It was about power, legacy, and retribution. After the restraining order, my father tried to turn our extended family against me, claiming I'd deceived them into signing over the house and hidden money to ruin them. Some relatives believed him at first, sending me messages calling me cruel. But I was ready. I sent them the legal documents, mortgage records, trust details, the dismissed bank claim, and photos of the vandalism. The accusations stopped. No apologies came, but the silence spoke volumes. My parents didn't quit. Weeks later, they contacted my employer, alleging financial misconduct tied to my $780,000 commission, hinting at insider trading or unethical practices. They sent anonymous emails and a packet of claims to HR. My firm, thankfully, didn't entertain baseless accusations. They informed me immediately, and I met with compliance to review every transaction. Everything was legitimate. Their attempt to ruin me failed, but it was the final straw I'd tried to shield them, avoiding charges for vandalism or harassment. But now, I was done holding back. I filed a civil lawsuit for defamation, emotional distress, and property damage. The evidence was overwhelming. Photos, emails, the bank's dismissal of their claim, contractor repair estimates, and a voicemail from my mother saying, "You'll pay for this, you ungrateful child. We never should have let you have that house." They were served within days. Their reaction was explosive. They called, yelling about betrayal, claiming they'd sacrificed everything for me. "How dare you treat us like criminals?" my father roared. My mother sobbed, calling me heartless, saying no daughter would do this. I reminded her no parents would do what they did to their child. Then I blocked their numbers. I wasn't suing for money. They had little. I wanted accountability, a legal acknowledgement that their actions were wrong. But the lawsuit revealed a shocking truth during discovery. Their financial records showed they'd been hiding wealth. Years earlier, my grandfather left them rural land, seemingly worthless. A decade ago, a tech company bought nearby properties for a data center, and the land's value soared. They sold it quietly, stashing $840,000 in a private account while pretending to be broke, needing my help, squatting in my home, and chasing my $780,000 commission. They didn't need support, they wanted control. Their lawyer, once bold, retreated. They offered to pay for repairs and retract their lies to family. I refused. I wanted a court ruling. The judge sided with me, awarding $192,000 for distress, legal fees, and repairs. The defamation was confirmed, and the restraining order extended for 2 years. I sent the ruling to every relative who'd believed their lies. Some apologized, others stayed silent. Their manipulation was finished. I sold the house. The memories were too heavy, the toxicity too deep. With the proceeds and my investments, I bought 2 duplexes out of state and moved to a quiet coastal town where no one knew me. I started fresh, therapy, hiking, investing in myself, not just financially, but emotionally. It took time to stop jumping at every unknown caller, to stop hearing my father's voice saying, "Drop your keys and leave." But peace eventually came. Then, a month ago, a letter arrived, handwritten, no return address, my mother's familiar script. One line, "We didn't mean for it to go this far. Please forgive us." I stared at it, then tossed it into the fire. Forgiveness is earned, not owed, especially to those who try to steal your life and play the victim when you fight back. I built my life without them once, and I'm doing it again. This time, they'll never get another chance.